Hello and welcome to the Sales Enablement Collective. I'm Sophia and I'll be walking you through today's video. In this episode, we're exploring one of the most pivotal parts of sales enablement, onboarding. Onboarding forms the foundation for so much of the enablement's ongoing work. As a result, sales enablement professionals are always looking to make sure their programs are up to scratch. But what do we mean when we talk about onboarding in a sales context? When we talk about onboarding in sales and enablement, we're talking about the process of providing newly hired sales reps with the knowledge and skills necessary to perform in their role. The ultimate goal of an enablement team onboarding program is to prepare new reps so that they are able to play their part in leading the company to success as soon as possible. Sales onboarding differs from the onboarding that a human resources department might do, as it is specifically focused on key responsibilities of a sales manager. During onboarding, a new sales team member will be typically walked through conducting sales calls, closing deals, and 30, 60, 90-day plans. Meanwhile, HR's onboarding will cover things such as payroll, insurance, and more general aspects of the company culture and being an employee. In almost every organization that has a sales enablement team, creating and maintaining a sales onboarding process will be that team's responsibility. Our sales enablement landscape report found that over 95% of enablement teams were at least partially responsible for onboarding new sales reps in their organization. That means a rep's first impression of a company and early opportunities to build on their strengths and weaknesses as a seller are handled by enablement. Enablement teams need to develop strong onboarding plans to make sure that new sales reps can both hit the ground running as soon as possible and be set up for long-term success. It's important to remember that enablement doesn't operate in a vacuum, even if the team is solely responsible for onboarding. Communicating with key stakeholders, such as frontline sales managers and sales leaders, to understand the exact objective of the onboarding program. For example, it is more important to focus on ramp time and getting a sales rep on the phone as soon as possible, or perhaps in-depth product knowledge is more important, meaning that concessions can be made in other parts of the program. Whatever the goal of your onboarding plans and programs, they should be communicated and aligned with the goals of the wider team and what sales managers and leaders need from new hires. The most important aspect of building an onboarding program is creating your MVP, meaning your minimum viable product. The first iteration of your program doesn't have to and won't be perfect. There is so much involved in creating a successful onboarding program that it's practically impossible to roll out a perfect version 1. Instead, enablers aim to implement a minimum viable product. That means sorting out the absolute essentials for launch date, then using feedback and data from after the launch to iterate on the most pressing areas of the program that need development. At SEC, we collaborated with experts in enablement and onboarding to create a free 40-page playbook on how to build your own onboarding program, and you'll find the link to the comprehensive guide in the description of this video. That playbook covers how to create an onboarding MVP, as well as diving into the metrics you can use to track whether your program is working and how to adapt it as time goes on. Before we wrap up, let's look at an example of why the minimum viable product should form the core of your onboarding program through the lens of product knowledge training. Ideally, you want your reps to have a strong product knowledge. However, if you're onboarding for a situation where sales reps will be making calls within a month, then you probably won't be able to fit the full breadth of the product training sessions you want into your training program, at least initially. That's where creating an MVP comes in. You should start with building a value proposition module into your program, as that is a must-have. New reps have to know the pain points your product solves. Your onboarding program won't be viable without it. Then, as you iterate and develop the program after launching it, you'll learn where and when to include the rest of the product training you originally wanted to cover. Or you'll even find out that the value proposition model is effective enough to do the job you need. Remember, your MVP is key to creating a successful onboarding program, especially if you're in a smaller, less resourced enablement team. Get something that works and help sales reps out the door, then work on improving it. So there you have it, a quick look at the basics of sales onboarding. If you want to learn more, download our free playbook, ask your enablement peers in our free Slack channel. You'll find more info in the description or on our website, salesenablementcollective.com. See you next time!